You won't find any gaming systems in our house.
Welcome to the Sowing Seed Podcast. One guy's thoughts on family, faith, farming, and financial freedom. Now from the studio in E-I-E-I-O, where the only traffic jam is getting behind a tractor on the road, here's your host, Matt Miller.
I'll never forget growing up in Sycamore, Illinois, about 60 miles west of Chicago, and my best friend and running buddy all through high school was my cousin Dirk. Well, Dirk's family had always done pretty well. They always had a lot of the coolest and latest stuff. They had the Betamax player and the VHS player back when that battle was heated before VHS ended up winning. They had all of these incredible videos that they had done of all these different old-time monster movies, all these Japanese classics like Godzilla versus Mothra, and you name it. They had an entire cabinet of that stuff. But one of the things that they had at the very beginning that we literally spent days of our life with was the Atari. And I'll never forget the first time that was set up. I think that the boys got it over from Christmas. And literally every time I went to the Ozensberg's house for the next several years, we spent hours and hours and hours on that Atari. Initially with just Pong, because that was all that was available. Space Invaders and Asteroids were a huge step forward and were a couple of my favorites. I loved that time during my life. I loved the opportunity to hang out with my cousin and other friends and play that gaming system. But ultimately, it also led me to decide as I grew up and I got a better understanding of me and my tendencies and of life in general, how quickly systems like that can just totally suck the life away, the time away from each and every one of us. I played some of the early computer game systems before they all kind of went to the cloud at that point in time, when it was no longer just me against the computer. It was me against a bunch of unknown people. I opted out. But along the way, I made the decision, along with my wife, that we were not going to have the latest and greatest gaming system in our house. We weren't going to have any gaming system at all. There may be some stuff that the kids did along the way on the computer, but we weren't going to have the Xbox. We weren't going to have the PlayStation. The closest we ever got was we had Game Boys for a little while, though the kids had very limited use of them. Now, you may be wondering, well, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you make that available? That's what all the kids are doing. Well, I learned a long time ago to not follow the herd, and we just decided that our house was going to be a haven. And whereas the kids might have access to some of that other stuff when they went and spent the night with friends or whatever, it wasn't going to become the centerpiece of our house. Did they get grief along the way? I'm sure they did. Did they not totally fit in with some of their friends because they hadn't been playing or hadn't excelled at some of the latest games along the way? I'm sure they did. But the reality is there are too many people, too many kids especially out there, and a lot of adults, quite honestly, that I've come across here over my years that waste their life away on those systems, playing those games that are built to keep you going, and spending your time, and even today, spending your money on artifacts and items forever. What we decided to do may not be right for you and your family, but I'm going to challenge your thinking. I'm going to challenge you to be weird. I'm going to challenge you to not follow the herd and do what's right for you, for your family, and for your kids. God bless you.
Thanks for listening. Check out our website, sowingseed.net, the Sowing Seed channel on YouTube, and if you got something out of today's podcast, give us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. Until next time, go plant the seed you need to succeed.